Hi everybody! So today we're on our next entry in our series of Did the Right Film Win? Looking at the animated Oscars. This video we're talking about the year 2006, and last video I said it was one of the strongest years with 3 films I really liked. This year is not as good. So all have strengths in their own ways, so let's talk about them and see which one I like the best and let me know which one you like the best. First nominee in the year 2006 is the film Monster House.
Whatever you do, don't go on the lawn.
Don't look back! I look back!
And this was done by Image Mover Studios, associated with Sony then. And they're the ones that went on to do Christmas Carol, and they had done Polar Express previously. It is primarily a motion capture animated film. The animation doesn't look very good. I think it looks pasty and amateurish, and I just don't think it flows very nice. It looks kind of awkward, and so it's not great on an animation standpoint in my opinion. But it basically tells the story. There's a boy who lives across the street from a really crotchety old man, and who doesn't want anybody going on his lawn. It kind of reminded me of Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino, which is funny. But he's this crotchety old man, voiced by Steve Buscemi, and he doesn't want anyone going on his lawn. And the boy next door is sort of spying on him, looking at him, and they finally figure out that basically, like, the house is like a giant monster. It has like the carpet becomes a tongue, the windows are eyes. It's this monster, and it like actually eats people. And so this is kind of an homage to the scary movies from the 1980s, movies like Gremlins or The Burbs. It reminded me a lot of The Burbs, and it's fun on that level, and I can see enjoying it, especially if you like horror movies. Some of the writing is pretty funny, but this was not my taste. It's just not my kind of movie. I thought that they made a mistake of going from that small feel to going really big, where I just felt like it kind of lost me. I think it would have been much better if it just stayed on that haunted house kind of level, as opposed to, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, as opposed to the monster becoming kind of big. And it became more of like a Godzilla type experience. And I think that the voice performances are pretty good, but I didn't think it was funny enough really to be like a Gremlins, like Gremlins has, or Ghostbusters or a movie like that. Also kind of crass. I thought the characters are pretty sarcastic. There's a babysitter and the babysitter's boyfriend that I didn't really care for. One of them gets drunk, they're making out, things like that I don't know, I don't really appreciate in a kid's film, a children's film. It's definitely way too scary for little children, I think, but it depends on the kid, but definitely be careful. The next film that was nominated in 2006 is Disney Pixar's Cars.
How does a Porsche wind up in a place like this?
I fell in love.
Oh, Corvette.
And this is a film directed by John Lasseter, and it features a huge voice cast, including Owen Wilson and Larry the Cable Guy and Bonnie Hunt and Paul Newman. This film looks really beautiful. It's a really wacky concept. The whole idea of the Cars movies is really bizarre. You can't overthink it, because who's making these cars? Do cars have car babies? Like, do cars like grow over time? Like, cars die? But in the Planes movies, they stop making one of the parts of the dusty plane. Like, who decides that? That seems kind of mean. And there's just all kinds of weird questions that you can ask about the Cars movies. But if you can put all of that aside, then I can see why kids love the Cars movies and why they're entertaining. It starts out telling the story of Lightning McQueen, who is the rookie race car, who is all confident and cocky. And anyway, he's a big hotshot, and he ends up, through various contrivances, ends up at a small little town off Route 66, and he has to do some public service there that keeps him there. And Paul Newman car is the sheriff of the town, and the Bonnie Hunt car, Sally, is owns the local. She's a Portia, and she owns the local lodge, inn, whatever. And of course, then you have Mater, who is tow truck, who is very energetic and very fun and gets to know Lightning McQueen. And so that's sort of the story, and it has a really nice message about the loss of small-town America and Main Street USA. Really like the soundtrack. It's unusual for a Disney film to have a soundtrack, aside from like a Lilo and Stitch. Really beautiful visuals, particularly when Sally and Lightning go on kind of their like date drive thing. That I really liked. But this movie, aside from being just completely nutty as far as the world, it's a little slow. I watched it again doing my Pixar reviews, and I'll put a link if you want to read my full review of Cars. I was surprised how slow it was, a little bored in sections. But it's still definitely a quality film. It's got some funny moments. I do think that Larry the Cable Guy is engaging and funny as Mater, and overall I can see why especially little boys really love it. Then our last film is Happy Feet, and this directed by George Miller, who is also the director of Babe and the Mad Max movies, which is really random. And it's got a huge all-star cast, including Elijah Wood and Robin Williams, and Brittany Murphy is in it. And basically it's about this penguin in the Antarctica that he doesn't know how to sing, but he dances. I realize it's weird. I actually watch this movie a lot when I'm sick, because it starts out so cheerful and it just sort of puts me in a good mood. It's a jukebox musical, and the musical numbers are a lot of fun. Some of them are a little bit like, do they just do a little bit of Baby Got Back? You know, it's like a little bit inappropriate, some of the songs, but it's still sort of fun and cheerful, and I enjoy that part of the movie. But I realized that it's like, I never watched this whole movie. All these times I watch it when I'm sick, I think I fall asleep because I'm sick. And so the last 45 minutes or so of this movie is really weird, and it has no business being an hour and 48 minutes. That is insane. Like, that is way too long for this movie. It should have been 70 minutes. The Elijah Wood penguin, he ends up finding out that these aliens, the humans basically, are taking all their fish, and the penguins are starving. And so he goes on this sort of expedition with three or four of the other penguins to go and tell the aliens not to take all their fish. He actually ends up in Australia it's really weird section where he's in like penguin heaven, but it's not. It's actually this aquarium, and he's like talking to the glass and like trying to get the penguins to listen, and he's like talking to the humans, and he's saying, why won't anybody listen? But to him, it's just penguin voice. It's weird. It's really sudden he's back in Antarctica, but he has a tracking device, and so then the humans are tracking his behavior, and they all start to dance to sort of tell the humans not to take all their fish. And somehow they like get the message. I don't know. It's a weird ending. It doesn't work at all to me. And I don't know. It just goes from being this completely joyful picture to being kind of downbeat and kind of a downer. So, and you know, it totally makes sense that Happy Feet won in 2006. 2006 was the same year that they gave Al Gore an Oscar for standing in front of a PowerPoint for 2 hours in Inconvenient Truth. One of the most ridiculous Oscar wins, I think, ever. I'm all for saving the environment, but that movie is not a good documentary in any way. And so, you know, it makes sense that they would pick this one that has this really preachy environmental message, because that was just sort of the theme of 2006. So, and like the other two aren't super strong and compelling. But for me, out of the three, if I had to pick which one that I would want to watch again, if I wasn't sick, I guess, I would pick Cars. I think Cars is the best out of those three movies. I think it's the most entertaining. I think it has the most heart. I think it has the message that I respond to the most. I think it's the most beautiful. It definitely has the best animation of the three by far. And it has a great voice cast. And I think it entertains the most people. Kids love Cars, especially little boys. So I think overall that Cars is the best out of the three. So that's my opinion. And let me know what you think. Put in the comment section which one you would pick. And I hope you have a great day. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.